My name is Amanda Mather, and I work at El Rancho de las Golondrinas, which is a living history museum about 20 minutes south of Santa Fe and 40 minutes north of Albuquerque. I hope you guys are excited for the 2020 Science Fiesta. I am by trade an archaeologist, and so first I wanted to talk about what archaeologists do. Um, Archaeologists study basically the things that human beings leave behind, whether it be their homes or the material stuff they left behind, like pottery or arrowheads, etc. So we look at the material goods that human beings left, and usually we do that by digging in the ground. So we do a lot of that digging in the ground. We get confused a lot with paleontologists, which I must say, I've always said I'm a failed paleontologist. I think paleontologists are the coolest. But what paleontologists do is dinosaurs. So they're pretty groovy. I'm jealous of them in a lot of ways. But I took the other path, the human path. So that's what archaeologists do, is mostly excavation and looking for things that people in the past left behind. So we'll start there. And what I want to do is just these little clips where I talk about what archaeologists do and what we look at. And there's lots of funny words that are used in science, as you guys probably know. That includes archaeology. So I want to just give you plain, straight talk about what we're talking about when we're talking about those fancy words that people use in archaeology, so that you know what the heck we're talking about. All right, that's segment 1. I'll see you guys soon. Hey guys, it's Amanda Mather coming to you from my beautiful, glorious kitchen. I'm here to talk about some words used in archaeology that I think are somewhat confusing. So I wanted to just make sure that people understood what we're talking about when we're talking about stuff. So the first one I wanted to speak to you guys about was the difference between a shard, S-H-A-R-D, and a sherd, S-H-E-R-D. So most people, I think, when you're, tooling around an archaeology site and you find a piece of pottery on the ground, you say it's a pottery shard. Well, in archaeology, we call it a sherd, just to be confusing, S-H-E-R-D instead of S-H-A-R-D. And the reason is because we want to be able to differentiate between pottery and glass, or some other type of broken stuff. So we say sherd because we want to make sure that when we're talking about it, we're sure we're talking about a piece of pottery. So that's why we call it a sherd versus a shard. So that's step 1. All right, I'll be back and we'll talk about some other stuff. Okay. Hey guys, it's Amanda Mather again for your Science Fiesta, talking about archaeology with everybody. So the next one I want to talk about is something like this puppy. We all recognize what that is, right? Called an arrowhead. In archaeology, we call them projectile points. And the reason is because you don't necessarily know what it was attached to, right? Like, maybe it was a knife, maybe it was on an arrow, maybe it was on a spear, maybe it was a scraper, maybe it was used for an awl. We don't know, right? So instead of saying arrowhead, we say projectile point, just to sound fancy. Sorry, my dogs keep fighting in the background. Anyway, so that is our next little piece of archaeological nomenclature. All right, we'll talk again in a minute. Bye. Hey guys, it's Amanda Mather again for your Science Fiesta 2020, talking about archaeology and terms in archaeology. So the next one I want to talk about is, broadly, we call it groundstone, stone that you grind stuff with. But more specifically, we have these puppies right here. This is called a mano, as in the Spanish word for hand. And then this puppy, dogs are fighting again. This puppy right here is called a metate. So, you take the mano and you put it on top of this here puppy, the metate, and you put your corn on here, and you grind away, right? So you break it into little bitty bits. And in the Southwest, generally, there's two kinds of manos and metates. There's this kind, which is really good for breaking up grain, but particularly corn, which, was the biggest crop around here. And this is called vesicular basalt, by the way. Another fancy word to throw around. Vesicular basalt, because it has all these little vesicles in it. It's basalt, which is a volcanic rock. And these little vesicles, these little holes here, which make it so good for breaking down grain, are, because it's volcanic, gas is escaping as it dried, or as it cooled. So that's where this stuff comes from. And then this is a sandstone mono. So these would be better for grinding stuff like, say, sunflower seeds that are really oily. Because, if you try to do it with this thing, they just kind of get caught and gross, which makes perfect sense. So you'll often find sandstone ones, too, that were for grinding different wild plant materials, etc. So that is our next set of words here. Groundstone, mono, metate. Hi guys, it's me again. I'm back. So the next word we're going to talk about is, before I started doing archaeology, I never heard this word in my entire life. The word is Manuport, and I wrote it down for you guys so you could see it. Manuport, Manuport. What's a Manuport? A Manuport is a rock picked up somewhere and brought home that hasn't been modified, so no one's messed with it. So here's a great example of a Manuport. See this giant, crazy fossil of a mussel? Does it belong in my kitchen? It does not. How did it get here? Somebody picked it up and took it home. So it's a Manuport. And the thing I love the most about the Manuports, when you're digging stuff up and you find this, cool fossil or cool rock that obviously didn't come from where you're at. It's the most human thing in the world, isn't it? I mean, everybody has that little pile of rocks and stuff that they've picked up that they thought were cool looking and brought home. And people have always done that. And now you know what that is. It's a Manuport. All right, we'll see you in a bit. I'll do another one here. Hey guys, it's Amanda Mather again, talking about archaeology. So the next one I want to talk about is how we register different archaeological sites so that we can keep track of them. And in the state of New Mexico, we do this thing called an LA system. Now, LA, just stands for Laboratory of Anthropology. So, let's say archaeologists are going around and they find a spot and it looks like there's some stuff there, quite a bit of stuff. Well, then they tell the Office of Archaeological Studies that they've registered it as a significant place, and it's given an LA number. So when you're digging up, excavating a spot, it has a name, a general name. Like, let's say I worked on a place called Agua Fria Schoolhouse Site, but its LA designation, the way that it's tracked, is LA2. So it looks like this. So whenever you see a site, it'll have LA and then whatever number comes after it. So LA1 and LA2, or LA 10,000 and LA 10,001, can be all the way across the state from one another. It just depends on when they're registered in the system. So that's my next little bit. Hey guys, it's the archaeologist in the kitchen again. I got another set of funny words for ya. Faunal remains. What does that mean? Faunal remains. It means, plain and simple, bones. Animal bones. Here's the good one. Here's the good creepy one. Yeah, so faunal remains are just animal bones that you find when you're digging stuff up in archaeology, and it allows you to know what people were eating, which is, kind of important information when you want to know how people lived and is what they ate. So faunal remains, a fancy pants archaeology word for animal bones. Hey guys, it's Amanda Mather, the archaeologist hanging out in her kitchen. I just wanted to wrap up here and say thanks for watching, and I hope you guys are having fun at your 2020 Science Fiesta. And when this madness is all over, please come visit me at El Rancho de las Golondrinas and come splash in the creek and say hi to the burros and have a good time with us. All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging in with me.